It's just because, blues and rock and roll have always been considered taboo, and devil's music and, all that kind of stuff. And it's hide your kids from that.
Imagine sitting across from Slash, the legendary top hat-wearing guitarist himself, and asking him, out of every band you've ever heard, which 5 stole your heart? The answers? Some will shock you, some will make perfect sense, and one might have you questioning everything you thought you knew about his taste in music. Which iconic rock legends made the cut? Did any unexpected underdogs sneak in? And what do these choices reveal about the man behind the Les Paul? Stick around, because we're about to uncover Slash's personal music hall of fame. Will your guess make the top spot? Get ready to crank the volume, because this reveal might just redefine your playlist forever. Curious? Hell yeah! Let's dive into Slash's Ultimate 5, raw and unfiltered, straight from his wild world. Starting our countdown at number 5, AC/DC.
But dwelling on that stuff, all things considered, I left the band in 1996, so we're talking.
These Aussie powerhouses deliver straight-up, no-nonsense rock that Slash can't resist. In a 2024 interview with Loudwire, he hailed albums like Power Age, 1978, and For Those About to Rock, We Salute You, 1981, as standouts, loving their unstoppable drive and raw power. Formed in Sydney in 1973 by brothers Angus and Malcolm Young, with the gritty vocals of Bon Scott until his tragic death in 1980, followed by Brian Johnson's screeching delivery, AC/DC became synonymous with high-voltage anthems like Highway to Hell and Back in Black. Slash has repeatedly ranked Highway to Hell, 1979, high among his favorite studio albums, praising its relentless energy. And he calls If You Want Blood, You've Got It, 1978, a killer live record that captures the band's explosive stage presence. One song that sneaks into his top picks is Down Payment Blues from Power Age, with its bluesy undercurrent and driving rhythm that mirrors the working-class grit AC/DC embodied. What pulls Slash in so deeply? That stripped-down riff assault, rooted in blues but cranked to 11. He reveres Angus Young's wild schoolboy uniform antics, killer tone, and unyielding energy, naming him a true guitar hero in multiple interviews. On his influences radar, AC/DC represents the pinnacle of early hard rock, and he even gave major props to their 2020 comeback album Power Up, calling it a great fucking record, and highlighting how the band persevered through lineup changes, including Malcolm Young's passing in 2017. Slash has belted out covers of Whole Lotta Rosie from Let There Be Rock, 1977, another album he included in his list of life-changing records, and shares their deep blues veins, influenced by artists like Chuck Berry and Muddy Waters. AC/DC's magic lies in the basics. Pure feel, no fluff, with simple yet thunderous riffs that prioritize groove over complexity. This echoes profoundly in Slash's own style, where he favors emotional expression over technical flash. Think about how Guns N' Roses anthems like Welcome to the Jungle thump with that same relentless beat and street-tough attitude. That's the AC/DC love at work, keeping things gritty and alive. Interestingly, when Guns N' Roses frontman Axl Rose stepped in for Brian Johnson during AC/DC's 2016 tour due to Johnson's hearing issues, Slash was blown away by the performance, underscoring his respect for the band's enduring spirit. AC/DC taught Slash that rock and roll is about resilience and raw fun, influencing his solo work and collaborations, like his 2024 blues album Orgy of the Damned, where he covered Howlin' Wolf's Killing Floor with Brian Johnson himself. Dropping to number 4, the Rolling Stones.
Yeah. Did he like it?
He seemed to love it.
Yeah.
It was a really special
Lovely man, isn't he?
thing. Yeah, he was wonderful, and it was a big, huge tribute to him in Las Vegas.
The eternal rebels who groove with timeless edge, snagging Slash's admiration for their defiant spirit and blues-infused swagger. He once crowned Let It Bleed, 1969, an all-time gem, telling Atlanta's Q105.7 radio that Sticky Fingers Let It Bleed, Beggar's Banquet, Exile on Main Saint. Those four are basically my life soundtrack. Kicked off in 1962 in London by Mick Jagger, Keith Richards, Brian Jones, Charlie Watts, and Bill Wyman, with Ron Wood joining in 1975, the Stones oozed sex, scandal, and supreme rock, evolving from blues covers to original hits like Satisfaction and Paint It Black. Their tumultuous history, marked by drug busts, Altamont tragedy in 1969, and endless tours, mirrored the chaos of rock's golden era. Slash's draw? That unpolished, blues-soaked vibe, drawing from Chicago blues legends like Howlin' Wolf and Muddy Waters, but twisted into something uniquely British and rebellious. He digs Can't You Hear Me Knocking from Sticky Fingers, 1971, enough to list it in his top 10 tracks for its jam-tastic flow and extended instrumental section featuring Mick Taylor's fiery guitar work. According to fan sites like Slash Paradise, Let It Bleed tops his studio picks, while Get Your Ya-Ya's Out, 1970, rules as his favorite live album, capturing the band's raw energy during their 1969 U.S. tour. As a kid in the 1970s, after moving to Los Angeles at age 6, the Stones' chaos mirrored his own turbulent path. Outlaw vibes, epic riffs, and a sense of danger. He's jammed their tunes with Guns N' Roses, covering Wooled Horses and Sympathy for the Devil, and even hopped on stage with them during their 1989 Steel Wheels tour, where Guns opened 4 shows at the LA Coliseum. A fun twist: his mother, Ola Hudson, designed costumes for Jagger in the 1970s, feeding him early tales of the band's wild lifestyle and introducing him to their music. The Stones showed him rock's wild side, infusing Guns' LA sleaze with that same swagger. Wonder why Slash's licks in November Rain swagger so hard? Pure Stones essence, influenced by Keith Richards' open G tunings and Mick Taylor's melodic leads. In a 2024 interview, Slash praised their influence on fashion and attitude, noting how their cool aura made rock aspirational. Even today, he shouts out underrated tracks like All Down the Line from Exile on Main Saint, 1972, on its 53rd anniversary, calling it an unsung classic. Hitting number 3, Black Sabbath.
You know, it was really cool to have some of the guys that I grew up listening to, like Iggy Pop and Lemmy and Ozzy. Those were like the 3 main old school guys, and that was a huge honor.
The metal originators who Slash hails as untouchable heaviness, pioneering the genre with their dark, down-tuned sound. In his elite album Pix, their self-titled debut, 1970, reigns supreme, with him declaring, "Black Sabbath nailed metal's essence like no one else." Emerging from industrial Birmingham, England, in 1968 with Ozzy Osbourne's haunting wails, Tony Iommi's innovative finger prosthetics after a factory accident, Geezer Butler's occult lyrics, and Bill Ward's thunderous drums, they birthed doom metal via detuned guitars and themes of war, madness, and the supernatural. Slash favors Sabbath Bloody Sabbath, 1973, as a studio standout, praising its progressive elements and the title track's riff in his top 10 songs. His obsession, that groundbreaking gloom, which he says had the biggest impact on him as a young guitarist. Iommi's riff in Black Sabbath, the infamous tritone known as the Devil's Interval, was dubbed the heaviest ever by Slash in a 2022 Revolver interview. Its basic terror forging metal's path. Via Music Radar, he included their debut in his life-changing records for its bluesy punch, spun alongside Aerosmith during his youth. Guns' heavy hitters like Paradise City nod to Sabbath's influence with that sludgy tone and ominous build. A wild tie, Slash has shredded with Ozzy on solos and stages, including guest spots on Ozzy's solo albums like No More Tears, 1991, and live performances of Iron Man. Fans on bio forums highlight his blues Sabbath bond, tracing it back to his parents' record collection. To Slash, they weren't just tunes. They were the blueprint for aggression with heart, blending black country blues with psychedelic heaviness. That dirty tone in Sweet Child O' Mine? Sabbath's shadow looms large, especially from Paranoid, 1970, another honorable mention in his lists. In a 2024 statement on Ozzy's solo Rock Hall induction, Slash called it a no-brainer, emphasizing Sabbath's separate legacy. Their influence extends to his metal side projects, like Velvet Revolver's heavier tracks, cranking up to number 2, Led Zeppelin.
From beginning to end that I learned how to play was a Led Zeppelin song called Tangerine from the Led Zeppelin 3 album. Jimmy Page was definitely one of my biggest influences.
The colossal force that Slash credits with unlocking rock's wild side. He adores their debut as a fave, sharing with Metal Castle that first Zepp album hit me hard. They kicked off the 70s era of indulgence, excess, and highs. Their vibes just screamed adventure. Assembled in 1968 by Jimmy Page, Robert Plant, John Paul Jones, and John Bonham, they fused blues, folk, and thunder into legends. The primal blues core with explosive flair. He worships Page, calling the Whole Lotta Love opener raw, dirty, irresistible in Esquire, ranking its solo top tier. Slash Paradise spotlights Led Zeppelin 2 as a beloved album. The song remains the same live. And Black Dog riff-wise. Kid Slash vibed with Page's tricks and phrasing. Guns' marathon jams? Zepp-inspired. He's tackled their covers, inducted them into the Hall in '95 as rock's greatest, and noted their tunes captured life's edge, like Appetite. Fun nugget, Zepp's angst fueled his own. If Aerosmith sparked, Zepp fanned the flames eternal. Why the top spot? That sleazy, blues-hard rock mash. Formed 1970, they echoed the Stones but American style, with Tyler's shrieks and Perry's snarls in Walk This Way, Sweet Emotion. Slash labels their sound naughty, teetering, loud, rowdy, chaotic, matching his youth. In classic rock's top songs, Back in the Saddle shines for its riff. He's jammed with them, toured, and confessed rock's inspired his wild side. Guns' strut in Welcome to the Jungle, Aerosmith blueprint. Curious, his bends ooze that sultry twist. Aerosmith wasn't a listen, it was the ignition, the core of his rock DNA. There you have it, folks, the countdown that rocks Slash's world, from AC/DC's Charge at 5 down to Aerosmith's Throne at 1. These giants didn't just inspire, they built the beast we know as Slash, from Guns' glory to solo storms. As he'd put it, they captured life's raw pulse in every note. Which spot shocked you? Your top match his? Smash that like if you're hooked. Comment your guesses, subscribe for more legend lore, and keep the rock alive. See you soon.